Here's the baseline video for EJ's level 3 skiing prep. For any other trainers that might be watching this video, the conditions are wet, heavy snow. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 50 degrees, a lot of skiers on the hill, and the snow has been pushed around a lot. There's choke points due to the lack of terrain and losing slope on the edges. We've got some thin and bare spots peeking through. So keep all this in mind when looking at ski performance and some of the tactical choices made. So in this first clip here, I didn't have a very good position, so you couldn't see what the feet were doing, but it really emphasizes just the strength and discipline in the core. Good position of the shoulders, facing the path of the arc, where the feet are going. Great hand position and great pull use, which is all great foundations to the great skiing you see here. Some 3 areas for improvement that you'll see throughout this clip that I'm going to talk about is one is reducing the tail push on steeper terrain. Second is directing pressure towards the outside ski, and kind of what's going on with the inside ski and the performance issues we're having on the outside ski as a result. And then finally, more progressive leg steering and aiding turn shape. So let's dive into it. First of all, let's talk about the tail pushes. As you can see, there's a little bit of an up movement is extending both legs and then up and over and then pushing the feet out to the sides, which is moving the pivot point from instead of being under the feet or through the arch of the foot, moving that pivot point more to the front of the ski. Now you'll notice once you get off the pitch, that kind of it's not as pronounced once you get off the pitch. So it's definitely something we see more on the pitch. So what do we do to fix that? One of my recommendations is focus on shortening the inside leg at the beginning of the turn. And as you shorten that inside leg, it will draw you into the turn. And as you're being drawn in the turn, tip the skis on a higher edge angle and start to guide the feet through an arc. And resist the urge of pushing the heels out. So that's the main kind of 2 movement patterns that you want to see is shorten the inside leg, and then that will facilitate tipping the skis on the higher edge. And then number 2 is guiding the feet through that arc and resisting the urge of pushing the heels out. So second point I have on there, this is a big one. If I were to prioritize them, I'd say the biggest thing that you could work on is it relates to the 1 of the 5 fundamentals: controlling pressure from ski to ski and directing pressure towards the outside ski. You'll find in a lot of this footage, you'll see that you're standing on the inside foot a lot, and a lot of times you're standing on that inside foot when the ski is relatively flat, and that's causing that divergence to happen, and that divergence then is causing the outside ski to lose its performance and break away from you a little bit. So there's definitely a lateral move happening moving inside the turn, which is really compromising the ski performance of the outside ski. So here's a different line on Minuteman. So let's dive in. Let's start to talk about turn shape here. So the other thing we see is there's a short burst, I'd say an abrupt burst of rotational energy happening in the first third of the turn and through the control phase of the turn. And what that does is it causes the turns to be a little more comma shaped instead of C-shaped. Not as rounded out, and that can also sometimes manifest as kind of a dead point in the last third of the turn, where there's maybe a little bit of traverse and just it gets a little static, if you will. So if we think about metering out that rotational effort through the entire arc, and then through the entire turn, that will round things out a little bit more and make the turns a little more C-shaped, a little less comma-shaped, and also translate to a little more energy in the last third of the turn as well. So Another thing we could, and that's usually that's low hanging fruit. I find that a lot of people, that's something that you can, correct pretty easily. Uh, there gets a good look at what happens when you get on the inside foot. This is low. This is the upper Lafayette's leap. My goodness, look at the cover there. I mean, the grass is poking through. So you'll see some short, abrupt twist and energy of twisting the skis, but tactically that's appropriate here because I know I was getting surprised by some of the stuff in front of us here. So yep, inside, little, and again here occasionally we see just standing on the inside ski a little bit more, getting a little bit tipped up into the hill a little bit as well. So last final clip here is we're going to move to some flatter terrain and take a look at some high-speed wedge Christies, kind of like an advanced wedge Christie, high-end intermediate skier that's confident with speed, to take a look at that type of movement. And what you'll see here is it really does pronounce the issues of directing pressure towards the outside ski. So even at the wedge Christie, you'll see that you're caught inside. There's a little bit of a lateral move happening. You're standing on the inside ski. And what that causes is as as the skis start to match, they'll actually go from match to diverging a little bit in the shaping phase of the turn. As you come through and finish the turn, you'll get a little bit of a divergence going. So I think that's a big area of improvement, is eliminating that lateral move, moving more along the length of the outside ski, is gonna really improve performance on all assessment activities.